Hey everyone, Steph here from Express Fit for Life, and I have the pleasure of introducing you to my dad. My dad
Hello.
is a pharmacist, and I'll let you kind of just explain your history.
Over 40 years as a pharmacist is a great, certainly a career, but what it really led me to believe is that though medicines are both wonderful and certainly have been life-saving, they also we're basically swung the pendulum to now we're using them for more than just illness, we're using them for wellness, and that's a concern, and it's led to a lot of challenges. And if you Google polypharmacy, you'll see some of those things, Steph. So medicines are good, but what you want to do is you want to prevent your need for having to take medicines even for chronic conditions. And so that is the topic that we're going to be talking about today.
So we were reading up some interesting statistics, and they said that the average person who is over 40, and I just had my 40th birthday this year, so this is scary to me. The average 40-year-old or older is 60% of us are having, we're suffering from a chronic illness of some sort. I am so blessed and happy to say that I don't take any medication, and I think that that has a lot to do with lifestyle, what we eat, what we put in our bodies. Very much for letting us know what you wanted to hear from. So they kind of all stem from one issue, and that issue
is inflammation. If you go to Time magazine, you can Google the secret killer, and what this kind of shows, and we'll have it a little later, is that inflammation is a silent disease, and it's the cause of all the chronic illnesses. And you can have one of these that have eczema on it because it is also an inflammatory condition. And Steph, the thing about this is that we may be able to treat your infection with antibiotics, but when it comes to chronic illnesses, these are all induced by our lifestyle, and we have to get inflammation under control, and that's not going to be done well with medications.
So one question I had for my dad was, how do you know if you have inflammation in your body?
So if there's two things. One, you can have bad DNA. I had a DNA test, and my chances of a heart attack are fourfold higher than normal because of my DNA. But your DNA can certainly, load the gun, but it's your lifestyle that pulls the trigger. Lifestyle is the big one, and all you got to do is look around today, and people's health is deteriorating. Now, if you, what is the hallmark for being inflamed? All you got to do is measure your waist at the navel, not where you do your belt up, but if you measure your waist at the navel, and for guys, if you're over 37 inches, and women, if you're over 31.5 inches at the navel, you are setting yourself up, you are chronically inflamed, because that's what drives a lot of the production of what we call interleukin-1 chemicals, which cause chronic inflammation, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, so it's a great thing to do is just go to your local store, get yourself a measuring tape. We do have a YouTube on how to measure yourself effectively, but just right around the belly button. Really, really simple. Get that measurement, write it down, because sometimes writing it down is really scary, but when it's on paper, it's out there in the world, what gets measured improves. So that's your first step.
And the second step is the fact that what causes us to be overweight in this is our diet. Our Western diet is basically not real food anymore. And at the end of the day, 94% of people have a nutrient deficiency, and you just think, how many of you out there eat 5 or more servings of fruit and vegetables every day? I know I have to be deliberate about getting 5 or more servings of fruit and vegetables every day, and the thing is that we have a nutrient gap. So we need to look after that nutrient gap, because our diet fuels the chronic inflammation. Mm-hmm. Now, there was a great landmark study done in 2006 by the Neutralite Health Institute, the scientists there, and they looked at this whole thing about, the lack of plants and inflammation. And what they did is they took 4 plant concentrates, and they basically gave that to people and gave the dummy pills to the other group, and they measured their chronic inflammation. We'll put these slides up later, but what they did is, these are the plant concentrates. They had wild blueberry powder, blackberry powder, rose hips, and grape extract. What they found is the profound, if Stephanie holds that up, you can see the decrease in the production of this IL-1, which drives chronic inflammation. And you can see that it dropped it by 40%. This is an amazing result. We don't see this in drug studies, this kind of a difference. This is the drop. The black is the guys that got the dummy pills, and the guys that got in the gray are the ones that got the supplement with the 4 plant concentrates in it. And you can see how it dropped the driver, IL-1, of chronic inflammation. So
dropping is good. We want to drop.
Dropping is good. When you and IL-1 is produced by, if you've got fat around your middle waist, you're producing IL-1. Not only is it because of DNA, but it's also because you're producing it. Now, people say, Paul, what are you doing for that? To reduce my risk of chronic disease and I'm so fortunate because I came across the Nutrilite Health Institute and the products that they make. It's a worldwide collaboration of over 150 experts in genetics, medicine, and nutrition. And what they did after doing this trial is they continued to do other clinical studies. And the product that I take is in this perfect pack. But one of the items in here is Nutrilite XX, which is 22 plant concentrates and now 10 vitamins and 12 are minerals. And it's the ultimate multivitamin mineral. I've been taking it for over 40 years. But interesting enough, they did this study. They gave people an optimal diet, and then they gave people the supplement that I'm taking, and they measured the different nutrient values, and they were all much, much higher for the people that were not taking that were taking the actual supplement. That's important. But the most important test they did is the one Stephanie's holding up, which is a measure of DNA damage in dividing cells. What does that mean? That means that we all know that chronic disease can certainly start with the damage to your DNA. And what we do believe is that DNA damage is an early marker for acquiring chronic disease. Well, you can see just after 6 weeks of taking this supplement, this test showed that the guys in the green taking the supplement, their DNA damage in dividing cells was significantly lower than those that just had the optimal diet. And Stephanie, that's why I'm so fortunate, because I think that that's helped reduce my risk of chronic disease. Now, you know, people say, well, what can I do for it? Well, you need to work on your diet first, but you also need to deal with the nutrient gap that everybody has.
Yeah. Even us today, we went for sushi and we had a movie, we had popcorn. So we're not necessarily getting our vegetables today.
Got to have pop and popcorn. I mean, you know, you got to reward yourself. I mean, it's part of our lifestyle. Yeah. So don't be afraid to enjoying life. But we have 21 meals, you know, a week. You know, make 19 of them healthy. But for those days like we had today, where it was a fun visit and to the movie and a carb loading, if you will, the thing is that you need to still deal with the nutrient gap that we have.
So there's also the thought that people are like, well, I take a supplement, what is the difference? And the fact that Nutrilite does own their own organic farms, they control the entire environment, and the process is a huge factor. The other thing is we always challenge you to go and throw your multivitamin into water. And if it does not dissolve within, would you say 15 minutes?
15 minutes, 30 minutes tops.
Then it's probably not absorbing in your body either. And what are your thoughts on gummies? Gummies are huge.
Gummies are huge, but there's a big problem with the quality control in gummies. And for those people that are interested, there's been a review that was recently done, and it's posted on consumerlab.com. We can put that on there as a website, because
send the link.
They independently test vitamins. Now, I just want to mention independent testing of vitamins. That is more expensive to do. But what you want to do, and what the experts are now saying, is that you want to buy your vitamins based on the fact that they have been tested by a company like NSF, which you can see right there. If it's got that NSF on it, that means that the vitamins that are on the label are in the product. And Nutrilite does 500 quality control tests on every single batch. And you can be, that's why I'm so rest assured that what is on the label, I am certainly getting.
Awesome. So if you have any more questions, I'm blessed that I can ask any time for you on behalf of you. Please write in the comments below if you do have any extra questions, and thank you, Dad, very much.
Thank you for inviting me, and thank you to everybody for carving some time to tune in and listen.